welcome to Create Kids. This week's lesson is going to be really simple. Like you're going to be like, what? That's it? But it's something that is really important because a lot of people have been having issues with it lately. So we are going to talk about kindness. It's pretty simple. Like you're like, okay, just be nice. It's not hard. But for some people it is. The verse we're going to read is from John 4:7, and it says, "Soon a Samaritan woman came to draw water, and Jesus said to her, 'Please give me a drink.'" Super simple. He just wanted some water, right? But we're going to talk about why that's important because there are a couple of things that come into play that'll make you be like, wow, that's a bigger deal than I thought it was. So Jesus typically would do things that go against the grain. Like he was just always doing what people didn't think he was going to do. And I'm pretty sure that his disciples were just always looking at him like, "Sir, what are you doing?" But he didn't care. He just wanted to do what God wanted him to do. And he wasn't going to stop no matter what. He didn't care what anybody had to say. So he was in Judea, which is like down south, and he wanted to get up north to Galilee. And there's an area in between there called Samaria. And that's where the Samaritans live. And typically Jews avoided the Samaritans. Like they did not like them at all because the Samaritans, and there's a whole lesson for another story, but long story short, the Samaritans didn't believe all the same things that the Jews did. They kind of like mixed in with some other religions and stuff. And so the Jews didn't like that. The Jews were the people who believed in God. And the Samaritans, they added some other religions in there. Okay. So Jews believe in God. Samaritans believe in God, but also throw some other things in there. And so it's not right. Now, the fastest way, like I said, to get from Judea to Galilee was to go straight through Samaria. But most people were like, nah, we're going to take the long way around because we don't want to be around any of them people. But Jesus, being himself, was like, I'm not going to do what everybody else does. We're going through Samaria. And all the disciples are like, but the Samaritans live there. We don't want to go anywhere near them. And Jesus was like, I want to go. So that's where we're going, right? So he's traveling through Samaria and he gets to this town. And, they didn't have cars back then. They had to walk everywhere they went. And so Jesus gets tired. And so they get to this town and he sits down by a well. A well is like for a sink. It's like a sink for us. Like if we wanted to get some water, we would go to the sink, turn the faucet on, fill up a cup, turn the faucet off. Boom, we have water. But back then they didn't have running water. They had wells, which was just like a deep hole in the ground. And you could like put a bucket on like a rope and like drop it down in there and pull some water back up. So Jesus is sitting by this well, but he doesn't have anything with him because the disciples were hungry and they went to go buy some food. So Jesus is sitting by himself at this well with nobody else, nothing to get water from. And this girl comes up to get some water, but it's the middle of the day. It's like the hottest time, like just when the sun is at its brightest and it's just like the hottest part of the day. And this girl comes to get water and that's not normal. Back then, all of like the women in town would go to the well, like in the morning when it's cooler to get their water, because then they would have like water to drink throughout the day and they didn't have to be there when it was like super, super hot. But the people in this town were not nice to this woman. So instead of going to the well at like the normal time that most people would go, she wanted to avoid everyone so that she wouldn't get like laughed at and talked about and treated mean. So she would go and it's like the hottest point in the day just to avoid people because she didn't want to be treated badly. And when she got there, she was shocked to see Jesus sitting there, and she didn't know who he was. He was just a stranger to her, but she was just like, oh man, there's someone there. Ooh. And then Jesus asked her for a drink. That's where our verse comes in. He said, please give me a drink. And this woman was like, me? You want me to give you a drink? You're not going to talk mean about me. You're not going to pick on me. You're just asking me for some water. What? It shocked her that someone wasn't mean. And asking for a drink of water isn't necessarily nice, but it wasn't mean. Jesus was just treating her like a person instead of being mean to her like everyone else did. And she wasn't used to that. So they start talking back and forth, and he calls her out calls her out on some of the things that she's been doing wrong, and which is like why she was getting picked on. And so Jesus confronts her about it, and she's like, oh my gosh, like, I need to change. And she goes back and tells everyone about Jesus. Like, she gets bold enough to go back and tell everyone about Jesus. What's important is that when you're kind to people, you can change them. That it's just that simple. Like, Jesus changed that woman by not picking on her, but just being kind to her. And it changed her in such a way that she was able to go and talk to people that she hadn't wanted to talk to in so long because they were mean, and she just didn't care. Because Jesus showed her love. He showed her kindness. Now, think about like school or like where you hang out or whatever. Like, I'm pretty sure you can think of someone that isn't shown kindness. Like, you might know someone at your school that has special needs, and people will like walk on the other side of the hallway to get away from them. Or, even bullies. Bullies are mean, and they're usually the ones that need kindness shown to them the most. Because when bullies become bullies, it's usually because they are broken, or their feelings are hurt, or they have issues and they need kindness. So we need to remember to be like Jesus. Jesus was somewhere that he typically wouldn't be, the well in the middle of the day. You might need to go somewhere you typically wouldn't be to show kindness to someone that needs it, that you know of. Like, if you know that there's someone in like a certain club, or like lunch tables, in school, like you have your specific lunch tables you normally go to, and you might know someone in another class that you just want to be nice to. So you might have like an extra cookie that day, and you could just, go up to their table where you typically wouldn't be, just like Jesus typically wouldn't be at the well, and give this person your extra cookie and just be like, here, I wanted to be nice to you, and then just go back to your table. You don't have to have a full-blown conversation. Just one random act of kindness could change their entire day. Like, they could have been getting ready to go pick on somebody, but because you gave them like this cookie or like a cool like pencil or pen or whatever, they're like, you know what, that was so nice. And then they're not going to go pick on whoever they were going to go pick on because now they're happy, right? It's little things you can do that make a big difference in people's lives when they need it. Just like, all Jesus did was ask for a drink of water. Not a big deal, but it changed that lady's entire life. And you have that same power. You have the power to change someone's life by your kindness. Because it's not hard, even when they don't deserve it. So I want you to take a few minutes this week to stop and think, like, who can you be kind to? Who do you know that needs kindness? It could be your mom and dad if they're having a rough week. You could just randomly walk up to them out of nowhere and just give them a great big hug. Or it could be someone in your class that you know is having a hard time or whatever. Just think of someone that needs kindness. And this week, just do one thing that can make a difference. And when you do it, I want you to notice how it makes you feel once you do it. And then I also want you to pay attention to how it makes them feel when you do it. Because being kind isn't always just about the other person. It's going to make you feel good too. So think about what you can do for someone else this week.